Thank you very much. Well, I was a little bit disturbed when I saw that things were not going the way I was expecting. I'm happy that now you are back and we can have this presentation. So mine this morning is to talk about how to use the diversity of African vegetables for improved nutrition and discuss specifically an agenda for plant breeders. I will try to go through this outline. I'll quickly browse about food and nutrition security and the Sustainable Development Goals. I will briefly discuss about the diversity of traditional vegetables and also diversity of nutrients. I will highlight some of the past program and projects on African traditional vegetables and state a bit on the current and current research and development challenges, and then move from there to go to some research avenues for plant breeders and also the way forward. Basically, if you look at our society today, um, the newspapers uh, usually highlighting headlines about social, economical, political situations, whereby you'll be hearing stories about Raila, Ruto, or Yaraduo, even Patrice Talon, Benin. The focus of our newspapers most of the time is far from the essence of what the daily life should be. And rare you see some newspapers highlighting fruits and vegetables. Fortunately, you will see the Washington Post having a session on fruits and regularly presenting topic on fruits, on vegetables, and the importance of consuming them. But if we want to attain the SDGs like we want, the way we have planned, it's important that we turn the rhetoric, we turn the daily discourse to something important to the majority of us, to many people. And the SDGs will not be attained if the overall story of our daily conversation did not change or is not going to be changed. Because look at the statistic, the overall statistic presented about the, I would say, the children growth. And you can see that quite a number of people are suffering from stunted growth. And women in reproductive age also are very affected by anemia. And this huge population is also a concern for the world. But how many times are you seeing this in our newspapers? Rarely you will find some issues, some discussion, but they will be hidden somewhere inside, let's say, after the 10th page of the newspapers. Yet we have a tremendous growth of the population, and more importantly, we have a kind of disparity between rural and urban life. And the size of the population is totally different. And it is expected that around 2050, we'll have more people living in urban areas than in rural areas. Currently, most of our foods, the large segment of our food, is coming from rural areas where you will see people selling, producing a lot of vegetables, mushroom, fruits, tomatoes, and the bulk of the production from the rural area will be sending to the cities for our daily consumption. But now, if we become, let's say, several millions in the cities, how are we going to feed ourselves if we don't learn to produce properly, adequately, and enough for the society? You will see that the SDGs, two particularly, have as goal to end hunger, achieve food security, and improve nutrition, and promote sustainable agriculture. But the way we do this is totally overlooking the bulk of diversity, the agro-diversity in our areas. And the second one, ensuring healthy lives and promote well-being at all ages, is also not totally well addressed, because before you tackle the well-being of an adult, you should start thinking about the youth, the children, the younger ones. And here is a quote from George, who said that optimizing nutrition during fetal and early postnatal life is a golden opportunity to impact neurodevelopment and brain across the lifespan. Meaning that if we want to attain our SDGs, if we want a better life, we should create now the people of tomorrow. We should build the children of tomorrow. We should create the think tanks of tomorrow by nourishing adequately our children today. So having smart nutrient supply means having smart brain development. And our role as healthy parents today should be to nurture and to nourish our children. And I've seen that many people can recognize today that iron, iodine, vitamin B12, zinc, playing a great role in brain development, meaning that if you supply your children, if you supply your diet with those elements, you are sure to build strong people if everything is equal, I must say. Meaning that if we take particularly iron, it contributes to protect the brain development. And as Georgie indicated, if you simply can solve the iron deficiency, you can avoid a lot of things, particularly the iron deficiency anemia, not only in children, but also in lactating women and also in pregnant women. So tackling into the wealth of diversity that we have in terms of vegetables, in terms of fruits, will contribute to improve our daily nutrition, our daily well-being. And the source of that diversity is nowhere else than in fruit and vegetables. See, this, I would say, amount of diversity you can observe on my screen. Here you have Lagenaria siceraria, a delicacy that is well consumed in Niger, Mali, Bamako, Burkina Faso. Just close to it, you have Lufa acutangula, which is a climber, also used as okra in many areas. Nearby you have egusi, another very interesting food. Below here you have Cliome, Gynandra, also recognized as spider plant and well commercialized in Nairobi, in Togo, in Niger. I have seen it. And this Lagenaria here sold as international trade from Ghana to the UK. In between here, you have a type of Momodica, also well consumed, and the roselle flower somewhere in this corner. Along the Niger River, you have always this big market of pumpkin. And even people sell it in sliced form. And I would say, Solanum fruit in this corner here, several kind of it, several species within it, and we can make use of it. This is not all that we have as a fruit and vegetables. We have many, many of them. And as a scientists, as developers, we should let no traditional vegetable behind. We should we should get the benefits from each of them because they serve different purposes and they come from different families. And I can immediately tell you that there are major families providing species diversity for us. One is Amaranthus family. The Amaranthus, you have several species within it. You have also the Asteraceae family with several species. You have the Cucurbitaceae families, the watermelon family, the egusi family, and you have the leguminous, several families, plant families that can provide fruits and vegetables. We can make use of them. And not only they can serve nutritional purpose, but they can also serve medicinal purpose. So they have nutraceutical function. And even within a single family, like the family of Asteraceae, you can have several species contributing to different utilities for local populations. And our parents clearly know that eating vegetables, eating fruits, contribute to provide phenolic compounds like flavonoid, like carotenoid, anthocyanin, and they contribute to solve problems. They contribute to bring new components as antiviral, as anti-thermal, antimicrobial, antioxidant activities to prevent diseases and to promote a good health in every and each people. These phenolic compounds can be found in vegetables and that they can contribute at different levels to our well-being. Here, for instance, they contribute to neurodegenerative diseases, cardiovascular diseases, cancer, metabolic disorder, autoimmune diseases. And they have several food applications. One part or the other can serve as can serve different purposes. They can be used as additives. If I take miracle berry, the peel only can be used as um, additive for food and to change color, to change taste. They can be used as food sensors, and they contribute also to many other things. They are used as anti-aging agents, anti-inflammatory agents, and healing agents. So why don't we promote these plants, these crops? What is pulling us behind that we cannot solve? I believe that in the past, there have been several attempts to promote traditional vegetables. And the story goes back to 1995, where Biodiversity International and then called IPCRI or IPGIA contributed to build a kind of foundation to start a directory, putting people together to start thinking about how to promote those crops. And by then, there were a very few literature that you can cite, and among champions, we can cite Chiwa, we can cite Guarino, we can cite Shippers, who contributed to develop the first ideas that that have contributed to the promotion of leafy vegetable. And after we got the PROTA program with this famous book on vegetables, contributing to describe, review more than 300 species. And there were several small projects in country projects and regional projects in Kenya, in Tanzania, in Ethiopia, in Benin, to build the capacity of people and to share I would say, the gospel about vegetables, traditional vegetables. There was that big project funded by the European Union called Indigenovate, a very huge network of more than 14 countries, putting scientists together from 2006 to 2008. And through that network, there was a lot of promotion of leafy vegetable, fruit vegetable, traditional vegetable. And the Indigenous program contributed to write books and pamphlets. We got also from Global Hots several projects, and this specific one that we call Recipes for Success contributed as well to promote a number of species, and always putting several countries together, Benin and Kenya in this case. There was also the Darwin Initiative project in Mali, Bamako, and later on the micro-veg program funded by the Canadian International Food Security Research Fund, supporting Nigeria, Benin, and other countries. We got the Agronomic project that particularly focused on spider plants with several funding. I hope you can still see my screen on the other sides. And currently we have that project called SafeVeg. This is current, it's not a past project, but with a support from the European Union contributing to rebuild, to recreate a kind of innovative axis that will allow the expansion of the utilization of vegetable in the West African community. So then, several challenges remained, although we had those great projects. Number one, the research and development programs were always limited to a few countries and a limited number of crops. Number two, we do not have statistics, not at national level, not at regional level, not even at international level. So nobody can say exactly the amount of leafy vegetables, the amount of traditional fruit produced. Statistics are not available. And the scientific knowledge is still scanty. We have insufficient production for industries. Even if the industries are ready to take a bunch of product, we do not have enough production to feed those industries. And we have limited access to quality seeds. Most of the traditional vegetables or fruits do not have quality seeds. And sometimes you can buy seeds from source and they cannot germinate, or even you harvest from the previous, you collect from the previous harvest and it will not germinate either. So we need to have something done there. And the local knowledge, particularly in youth, is always a problem, that young people do not find vegetables or leafy vegetables sexy at all. So overall, even the mainstream research is not focusing on on those commodities, and it always takes external donor to think about how to promote those crops. Now, if we have to move ahead, I want to be sure that you can see my screen because it is not showing well here on my side. Can somebody confirm that the screen is clear enough at the other side? Hello?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Because mine here is going off.
We can see Enoch, you can go on.
Okay. So there are a number of of actions that we need to take if you want to promote traditional vegetables. Number one, the market should be developed. Number two, we should create a conducive home gardening strategy, particularly in cities, to increase the production. Number three, we should develop clear transition mechanism to agro-ecological production to reduce the amount of chemicals that we use and that are not always compatible with the market. Number four, we should generate accurate statistics to inform policies to help our decision makers to produce the good policy that can promote the crop, because without statistics, I'm not sure that anyone can put resources in that. And also, we should help mandatory mainstream institutions to develop clear programs that can help to move ahead in terms of promoting traditional vegetables. Give me 1 second to, my screen is going off, so I can't see it again. To refresh it very quickly. Can you see my screen?
We can see you, not your screen.
Ah, okay, let me share.
Much better. You can continue, sir.
Okay, so I was saying that one main objective should be to develop value chains for our traditional vegetables. And this should start from, I would say, households to the industry. And there is no way we can promote traditional vegetables if we are not able to sell them at a higher level, to sell them commercially, to create job with. If we keep them in our home garden, it will not work. And if we plan to promote traditional vegetable, we should be aware that we should deal with diseases and pests that will also come and attack our plant, the way we deal with major crops. So there is no way we can increase the production without facing the biotic and the abiotic stresses. Home garden are of different forms, and we should know how to encapsulate them and find the best way to promote them, particularly in cities. And using the diversity that we can plot, that we can develop, we can use in home gardens will contribute to not only conserve the genetic diversity, but also to be aligned with the traditional practices and also the farmers' ways of dealing with those crops. And moving to agro-ecological systems, starting with farmers' feed, farmers' seeds, is something we should cherish when planning to promote traditional vegetable. And the framework is already available, and we can make use of it. Statistics, very important. And if you check from FAO, you will see that they will put all leafy vegetables, for instance, into spinach, which is not the case. We have Amaranthus, we have Boma, we have bitter leaf, many species, but putting all of them within spinach is not true, just not true. And also, there are constraints in terms of processing our vegetables, and processing them is something that we should rethink in some way, because if we don't have a clear pathway for the production, it will always be problematic for us. I see several avenues that we can use when we are promoting vegetables. And those avenues, particularly for breeders, start with what I will call understanding the reproductive biology of the crop we are dealing with, and then move into germplasm collection, germplasm assembly, because without good germplasm, without a good genetic resources, there is no way we can plan good phenotyping and genotyping, and even think of using molecular tools, genomic selection to accelerate the production of cultivars the way we should want and the way farmers will need it. And more importantly, we should learn to do multiple environmental testing, because seeds produced in Arusha may not work well in Benin, and seed produced in Dakar may not be perfect for Yaoundé, meaning that we should always try to do regional testing the way I have seen it in maize, rice, etc. for major crops. We should think doing the same thing for vegetables. And there is a framework, I would say a model developed for leafy vegetables, starting from understanding the need of farmers, passing through germplasm collection, going through characterization and evaluation, and moving ahead using molecular tools, etc., until we contribute into developing new cultivars. But ahead, we should think about how to integrate value chain development into our breeding models, because you cannot just breed for the sake of breeding. You should breed for farmers, you should breed for the consumers, and in putting value chain development into your breeding model will always give strength to whatever you plan to do. I will be happy to develop the case study of Gynandropsis gynandra spider plant, for which we have developed several, I would say, data in terms of nutritional value, in terms of variation data, in terms of new information. That species belong to the Cleomaceae family. Further, it was classified in another family, a family of several genera, but the particular character of that genus places it with only one species. And there are a number of traits that we can get, I would say, metabolic traits that we can get from Gynandropsis gynandra. The species showed a clear difference with population from Asia, East Africa, and West Africa, whereby we have seen a kind of molecular trend where phenotypic data were correlated with carotenoid information, flavonoid information. I would say simply in terms of vitamin E, vitamin C, and vitamin A, we have a bunch of new information that we can value for the market. Particularly, we have seen that accessions from West Africa were equally rich in vitamin E and vitamin A, while accessions from Asia were more richer in vitamin E, and accessions from East Africa richer in vitamin A. And we also saw that there were many other semipolar metabolites that were not characterized at all before. And those compounds helped to distinguish clearly the population from each region. And now genomic resources are now available, can be made available for the public, the same way that we already have genomic information for Amaranthus that can be used, and having genomic information help us using SNPs that can be associated with the morphological data, with the metabolomic data, and create new information and select appropriately the kind of resources that we need. Seeds of Cleomeganandra and many other vegetables typically exhibit a kind of dormancy that is difficult to handle when you don't select out that particular trait. So it's important when thinking about developing a value chain of those species, it's good to think about how to select out dormancy in seeds. Otherwise, you create good varieties, but with farmers, it will never germinate properly, and you will not have your cohort the way it should be. So I will move to the end because my screen is totally blank here. I don't know why, very unfortunate, but I will stop there and give back the floor. Thank you.
Thank you, Prof. Before you go, Prof, can you hear me?
Yes.
I have a quick question that has come through from Professor Luigi Guarino. He's asking, what has been the progress since the early work of biodiversity and others in the 90s and the impact of those efforts?
Oh, personally, I can say that there has been a lot of impacts of that early work from biodiversity. And that was the first item I have started showing when I was talking about past and the current program on traditional vegetables. Number one impact is that we can conduct more research on traditional vegetables in African universities, and have seen many publications coming from Kenya, Professor Mario Yango. I saw many publications coming from Togo with Batawila, and even from Benin, there is a bunch of publications. And also, more importantly, growers are more confident that at research stations or at universities, scientists or some scientists can still care about developing research or generating information on those species. And the last, I'll call it success, is from World Veg with the program Save Veg, which is a kind of continuity of the effort started since 1998. And I greet Guarino for being among the audience. I have a lot of respect for him.